All right, everyone, you might have seen a slew of news articles encouraging Justice Sonia Sotomayor to resign. She's not particularly elderly for a Supreme Court justice, but she does suffer from type 1 diabetes, and so she's not in the greatest of health. The liberals expect her to die, effectively. And it must be so overjoying to her to hear this in the news on a regular basis and from liberal commentators. Well, she needs to step down because we're afraid she's going to croak, basically. And they're also showing fear about something else that's very important. They're really wearing their heart on their sleeves, and they don't always even openly admit this, but I guarantee there's one singular reason why they want her to resign, in combination with the fact that she could keel. That's because they expect a very high probability that Donald Trump is reelected. For all of the bravado about Biden is booming, Biden is really pulling ahead, hey, here's this one cherry-picked poll showing him ahead in Michigan or something like that. Despite the bravado, I sense fear. I think that the liberals and leftoids are genuinely afraid right now because they do not expect to win. They're looking at Joe Biden, they're saying, absent pretty transparent voter fraud, which we will get at least in several states, by the way, so you can expect shenanigans. I don't deny that. Just don't get black-pilled. I think we can overcome it this time. I think we're a bit more prepared, and Trump is way ahead of where he was in polling specifically, so I think he goes up in polls if he actually gets arrested. If he ends up under house arrest at the Mar-a-Lago, it'll be hilarious watching him make Rumble videos of him walking around with an ankle monitor. He'll probably monetize it and turn it into a Sunday show or something like that. Here's my campaign message. My leg itches. Please send Vaseline. The jokes would write themselves. They're afraid. They think that Trump will be reelected. They think that Sotomayor apparently won't last another 4 years. Personally, I mean, looking at an actuary table, she probably does. She does have diabetes, she does have health issues, but she's not ancient. She's not 90 years old or something like that. And it's funny to see the liberals arguing against the persistence of a strong, empowered female justice now, isn't it? What they want is to get her out so that Biden can appoint somebody that's younger, so that they can continue their liberal half-court, because, of course, Roberts is a liberal as well, and trying to pretend otherwise is bullshit. And, by the way, two of Trump's justices, and technically the third on immigration, are actually, on Native American affairs, actually are fairly balanced justices. People think the court veered off far right. No, only on a few issues. The Bruin decision was good. Ending Roe v. Wade was constitutionally acceptable, although it created one hell of a firestorm. But it's actually a fairly balanced court when you think about it. Hell, even some of the liberal justices occasionally see the light. I can't wait till the Chevron defense probably is taken down imminently. I think that'll be a split decision, but I think it'll probably be a 6-3 actually myself. They're obsessed with forcing her out because they think that Trump is going to win. That's the long and short of it. The liberals seem more confident in Trump winning than many conservatives do. A lot of conservatives are like, well, we're not sure if he can make it. What if he's under felony charges, at the time of the election, which, again, I beg to differ. I think it would actually help him, and some liberal commentators oddly agree with me. It's a little bit like a bizarro world at the moment politically sometimes. They're worried about it because they don't think that Biden can make it. Biden might not physically make it to the election. He could croak at any given time. They're sitting there, they're worried about Sonia Sotomayor, right? They're like, well, she's 60, she's got diabetes, she might croak, and then Trump gets another justice. Oh my God, cats and dogs living together, and it'd be terrible. But aren't you worried about the elephant in the room, about Joe Biden with much more obvious health issues, both mental and physical, who happens to be in his fucking 80s? He's a lot older. He's got a lot more fucked up health problems. I see more concern, though, about the SCOTUS justice than I do about Joe Biden. A lot of the liberal commentary is basically like, yeah, I really love Sonia Sotomayor. They never criticize her, by the way, other than they call her stubborn for staying in there. She's not allowed to finish out, her job as SCOTUS. She has to stand down. Love her. Strong, empowered woman. Beautiful character. Obama appointee, so you really don't want to get on his bad side, by the way, if you're a liberal. But please, for the sake of our republic, we're all in danger if you don't stand down. They kind of made that same pitch to Biden, more mildly, when it became clear that he was going to be the party's nominee. They hushed down a little bit. They're still trying to convince Sotomayor, though, to leave. In her case, though, if you look at her character, she's basically going to tell them to fuck themselves. I don't expect her to stand down from a role in SCOTUS. By the way, tick tick tock, it's almost March, so at this point, not 100% sure that it would really be meaningful. You do realize that procedural rules and shit in the Senate would take hold as far as putting a new Supreme Court justice in there. You may vacate the seat, it gets punted past the election, and then Donald Trump gets a shot at it anyway. And that probably scares them, that idea probably scares them too, because you might have more Republicans in the Senate and or House, by the way, after the election. I mean, in fact, I would favor both. I would favor the Republicans right now to narrowly take the Senate, and I would expect them to retain the House. By 5 seats or something like that, maybe. I mean, I know that they've got an overwhelming advantage with the House races for the upcoming election, in the sense that most of the vacant seats that they have to defend are in red districts, whereas the Democrats have to defend a shit ton of competitive ones. Normally, you would expect the Republicans are going to run away with it, red wave. As we've seen in 2020, though, and 2022, the Republicans are really good at fucking themselves. Oh my god, we're about to win. We've got to do something. This is terrible. We're not supposed to do that. You're only allowed to win if it's a neocon who quickly sells out and acts like a Democrat light anyway. They all go to dinner together and stuff. Except Madison Cawthorn, who they're throwing under the bus again, by the way. I have a feeling that there might be shenanigans in that particular case. They're saying that he rear-ended a state trooper in a fit of road rage. I'm thinking to myself, okay, unless he was intoxicated on something, and he claims not to be one of the coke-using members of Congress, I can't imagine why he would be crazy enough to do that. I think that there might be a further explanation of that particular situation in the coming days or weeks. But they're obsessed. They're terrified of losing another SCOTUS slot. Well, why don't you just pray for her good health and say, okay, well, you know, she's probably going to make it another 4 years, right? You know, as opposed to maybe the vegetable in chief. I mean, he's falling apart in real time, and he now believes that his uncle was eaten by cannibals on Papua New Guinea back in World War II. Uncle Boozy, or Bozy, they called him. I don't think so, dude. I think that he's quite clearly mentally losing it a lot quicker than Justice Sotomayor is. That's about all. Peace out.